Hey y'all, hi. So this is New Makeup Hot Takes. I'm going to be going through Trend Mood 1, the Instagram account that posts about new makeup, talking about the new releases, as I often do. But I think that I'm going to do it with a little bit of a twist this time. I'm going to kind of try to answer the question of what's trending right now. But you know, new makeup comes out so much and so frequently that I feel like there are macro trends, like yearly trends, and there are also kind of micro trends. Like a lot of the times it's like, what's trending this week or this month? And that's actually more what I'm gonna be talking about today. Like, what is it that brands are really pushing right now? What is it that they think that we want to buy? Because I think that by answering that question for yourself, like what seems like it's trending right now, you can really position yourself in relation to the advertising in a more empowered way, rather than just being kind of like swept up in the tide of the excitement about what's trending and what's being advertised. I'll talk a little bit more about that when we get into the meat of the video. If this is your first time to my channel, then welcome. I'm really glad you're here. My name is Hannah. I love beauty. I love makeup. I really like talking about what's new to the market, but I'm always trying to do that from a grounded position. I feel like in the beauty community, it feels sometimes like it's normal to just buy and buy and buy makeup all the time. And I think that that's not actually a realistic or healthy behavior for most people. So I'm trying to keep that in mind when I make these videos. And if that sounds good to you, I hope you will subscribe. Now, let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. So just briefly before I start talking about the products, I want to explain a little bit more what I mean when I say that spotting trends can help you position yourself properly in relation to what's being released in makeup. And of course, I might come up with more reasons to do this as I go through it because I haven't really prepared. I have the idea and I'm going to go through and kind of look at what's new and we'll see what comes of that. We'll see what comes of approaching it with this attitude. But what I think might be the case is that if you know what's trend, if you can sort of put your finger on what's trending and that trend doesn't suit you or it's not something you're interested in, then there's a whole bunch of makeup that you might be kind of curious to know how it's going to perform and whether people will like it, but it can just be easily swept off the table for you in terms of your consideration as a buyer. Because if you can notice that, I don't know, super shiny lip gloss is trending, but you yourself don't like super shiny lip gloss, then all of the super shiny lip glosses that are being advertised in a really effective way because the models are beautiful and the packaging is beautiful and the color looks really great and the price point's really good, or it's from a brand that you usually like, all of these things that usually cause you to buy something, if that thing is fitting into a trend that you have already recognized as something that doesn't suit you, then you can just say no and don't let any of the other appealing aspects of that release hook you in. I think that there's also the opposite thing that happens, which is that sometimes when something's trending and it's something that you really do like for me, cream blush, a year ago or 2 years ago, it was hard to find a good cream blush anywhere. And over the past couple of years, every brand has released cream blush and many brands have released like multiple kinds, like a cream blush and a liquid blush and a cream blush and a compact and a liquid blush in a tube, you know, that we're swimming in cream blush. I know that that's something that I loved even before it started trending. And so when it started trending, I really had to hold on to my hat because it suddenly felt like everything was being made for me, and my old habit of pretty much buying a cream blush anytime it seemed appealing or wanting to buy a cream blush anytime it seemed appealing had to change because I had to, in this brave new world of cream blush to the left of me, cream blush to the right of me, I had to revise my usual reaction to a release of cream blush. And I did that by recognizing, articulating to myself that it was trending and that they were everywhere. And then I was like, okay, I can just slow my roll. I don't need to be super excited every time there's a new cream blush because there's no longer a dearth of cream blush. So that's like the idea of this video. The hope is that by articulating the larger trends of the market, we can keep from having like knee-jerk reactions, namely buying things as knee-jerk reactions. Let's move on to discussing the actual products, shall we? So I've actually scrolled down to to where I left off at the end of my last video about new releases. And it's interesting, that was quite a while ago. I think it was probably like a month ago at this point. I usually don't go this long in between new release videos, but I feel like there's a manageable number of new releases since then. And it might be because all of the brands were releasing stuff in a frenzy leading up to the holidays. And then as we went directly into the holiday season, they sort of tapered off. They'd all put their wares out on the table and then they were just like stepping back and waiting for us to buy them. So I feel like this is like the right number of things to look through. At first glance, I feel like the brief that I've set for myself is proving harder than I thought. Like the plan to try to find out what's trending. It's a little bit hard. It's a little bit harder than I thought. But here's something that's definitely a trend that it's past, kind of. It's the astrology collection of Colourpop glosses. Astrological signs have been trending in beauty for a couple of years now. In fact, I feel like the wave is over. Like they trended seriously for a couple of years, or for a year, but wasn't it like 2019 or it was 2019, right? That everyone was going hard with the astrological signs. Maybe it was even 2018. I feel like it's been a full year or two now that people have been saying when they see astrological sign makeup that they've been saying, that's so passé, like we're over it. But since we're supposed to be talking about trends and these glosses are about to release from Colourpop, I feel like I had to bring it up. The colors look very beautiful. I feel like they had to make them all neutral so that they would be as versatile as possible. If there's like a really strong color or a color with a really strong point of view, although some of them kind of are. Some of them are a little bit specific. I feel like that lessens the chances that somebody who happens to have that sign is also going to want that color, which may be the issue with the astrological sign trend at large. And that may be something that can help you write it off if you are feeling tempted by this because you love the idea of having a lip gloss that's designed for your astrological sign. If you back up a step from it and think about the actual logistics of that, if you buy the lip gloss that's in the color for your sign, the color has been chosen for you randomly. It's like somebody's taking a totally random lip gloss color and holding it out and you're like, yes, I will pay my money for that, even though I didn't select it. I didn't select the color from a shade range or from like a rainbow of colors. I didn't pick it because it's the color that suits me or the formula that I like or the level of glitter or sheerness that I like. I just bought it with my money because you held it out to me and said, this is the one that you should buy. That's what you're doing when you buy something because it has your astrological sign on it, especially in makeup. If you're looking at them and you see the one that has your sign and you like the color and you're like, oh, it's amazing. It's just for me. It has my sign and it's the color that I like the best. It's a match made in heaven. And you're like, no, Hannah, you're wrong because that's actually the one that I would have picked. How did they know? It's fate, it's astrology, you know? In a weird way, the same thing is still happening. They're holding out one to you and saying, this is the one that you should buy. And you're looking at it and you're saying, you know, I actually do like that color. I am going to buy it. But if they hadn't marketed it this way, if they hadn't attached an astrological sign to each of these 12 colors, would you have bought it? Like, were you that in the market for a Colourpop lip gloss in that exact color? Or were you just tricked into suddenly thinking that it's definitely for you because of the astrological sign branding? That is how I think about this trend. And that helps me to write it off whenever products are being marketed under this umbrella. I know that some people get really excited about astrological sign makeup, but for me, when I see it, I'm like, oh, I'm either going to end up with a color that I don't like, or I'm going to end up with a piece of makeup that has someone else's astrological sign on it. And if the stars align and I manage to get the one that has my sign on it, which is Pisces, and it's a color that I like whoop-de-doo. I mean, why does that make it a better choice, a better way to spend my money than something else that I really love, that I've been coveting, that I've chosen would be? In a sense, this trend gets me off the hook. It is the thing that I talked about at the beginning of the video, where you're like, oh, I see you. You're one of those trends that I'm not into. So I'm not even going to worry my pretty little head about whether or not I should buy one of these glosses. That is how I feel about the astrological sign trend, although I'm not sure that it's trending right now. But here's the thing that is trending right now. Let's talk about scent. because I feel, and maybe I'm just paying more attention to it now, but I feel like there's a lot about scent right now. There are a lot of perfumes on Trend Mood, a lot of celebrities releasing perfumes. And it does make me feel, and this is kind of what I intended to get at with this video, it makes me feel like I should be buying perfume. That's how I know that it's sort of micro trending. Every time I look at people's haul videos from like the Sephora sale, for example, or I look at Instagram and I see what people are posting about, I'm seeing more perfumes, more people posting about perfume. It feels like everyone's buying perfume, everyone's creating and releasing perfume, and brands are going to great lengths to advertise perfume in complex and alluring ways. And it's gotten to the point where it's at enough of a fever pitch that it's like infiltrated my subconscious. And I'm starting to catch myself thinking that I should buy a perfume and feeling like perfume is like exciting again. But here's the thing. I'm 36 years old and I've smelled a lot of perfumes in my day. And I've actually owned a number of beautiful perfumes in my day. And I know which ones I love. There's a whole laundry list of perfumes that I would buy if I were setting out to drop, I don't know, $60 or $100 on a bottle of perfume. There are a bunch that I already know that I would like to have. And there's a reason that I haven't bought them. It's because I'm not wearing that much perfume right now. I don't want to spend that much money on a single item. I do have a couple of little testers and, mostly used up bottles of scent that I wear from time to time, and those are serving me just fine. So before perfume started trending and micro trending and infiltrating my brain, I had already made my decision about what was going on between perfume and me right now. I'd already made my decision about what kind of perfume consumer I am right now. And I feel like collectively, the collective advertising that brands are doing on Instagram and through influencers, I feel like that collective advertising that we call a trend has started to undermine that decision that I had already made for literally no reason. For no reason that has anything to do with my actual life and what I desire and what I need and what would make me happy. That's the way in which noticing wow, there's a lot of perfume all over Instagram has helped me to kind of right the ship and remind myself that I'm actually not in the market for that right now. So I'm responding to some candles, Colourpop apparently had this big to-do with the Hocus Pocus candle. I don't know anything about that, but the candle advertising is definitely related to that for me. And there's this Billie Eilish perfume in a very alluring, Goldfinger woman bottle. Sephora had a perfume promotion where there was 20% off perfumes for a while. So I feel like there was a lot of intense perfume marketing around that. There's a new Marc Jacobs Daisy. Is that what's going on? Marc Jacobs Daisy Skies. Is it a new scent? Daisy Love Skies, Daisy Fresh Skies. I can't really tell whether this is Daisy or Skies or Love Skies or Fresh Skies or whether they're all the same thing, whether they're all different things, but it doesn't matter to me because I'm not in the market for perfume right now. Too Faced has released a perfume that's named after their iconic mascara. Sol de Janeiro is releasing new scents left and right and releasing a hair oil, which I actually think is a really nice way to wear a scent if you like the Sol de Janeiro scent. For me, I only put hair oil in right before I wash my hair because otherwise it weighs it down and it gets too oily. So even though I like that scent, it wouldn't be for me. And there's a new perfume from Kayali, which I think is Huda Beauty. It's the scent branch of Huda Beauty. So maybe this isn't more perfume than usual. You guys will have to tell me what you think. Either way, I do feel like it's assaulting me. For some reason, it's trended. It has felt like an aggressive trend to me. And by acknowledging it as such, I've made myself resistant to it. These Fenty liquid highlighters, when I first saw them, I was very attracted to them because I love liquid highlighters. And I do feel like liquid and cream highlights, just like cream blushes, have been trending for a longer time. This isn't a micro trend. I don't know. It's more of a movement, a wave, an evolution, and sort of the current status of what's popular in beauty than it is a small flash in the pan trend. A lot of brands are finding that this kind of liquid highlighting product and highlighting base product sells really well, something that can go under or over makeup. And more brands are innovating formulas like this. It's a trend that I really like because I tend to use these kinds of liquid highlighters as bases underneath my other products so that my skin glows through rather than applying like a powder highlight on top of everything, which is what we were all doing for so many years. And I'm really happy with the results of that. However, because of that, I already have really good products that do this. Really good ones. Just a couple. It's not like I have a huge drawer full of them, but I have a couple of liquid highlighting products with which I am incredibly happy. When I see a thing like this, it's tempting to just be like, I love that kind of thing. Oh my gosh, it's so exciting. I'm going to go out and get it. But when I step back a pace and I'm like, oh, but this is a trend. Lots of brands are releasing this. Then I'm like, and in fact, I already have a couple of things like this because so many brands are, and because it's trending, probably more brands are going to release things like this. There are ones on the market that I've been attracted to, like the one from Rare Beauty, that I haven't even gotten the chance to try. When I think about it that way, it kind of puts this release, which does look really alluring, and I like Fenty a lot, but it puts it in line, like it puts it in perspective for me. It's just one of many things that are working for me, could work for me, might work for me in the future, one of many things that kind of all do the same thing. And that helps me to be much more objective about whether or not it would be a good purchase for me. For me, as a reviewer of makeup, there's a chance that this would be a good purchase, and I know that many of you have requested that I review this, and maybe I will. I'll sort of see how I'm feeling in a week or two when I'm sort of thinking about how I want to spend the month's budget for self-sponsored review. But it's definitely not something that I would buy for myself out of a passion for this kind of product, because even though I have a passion for this kind of product, I also have products that do what this does. As always with Fenty, the advertising is impeccable. I like the way that the packaging looks and the way that the imagery looks. The shade range is very beautiful and alluring, and I hope that people who are buying this are loving it. I don't think that it's garbage or a useless release or something. In fact, I feel like it's one of the things that's new that I'm the most attracted to. But by putting it in perspective as a member of a trend, I'm able to loose myself a little bit from its initial firm hold on me. Because I have to say, when I first saw this release, I was like, I'm going to buy that. That was my first reaction. I was like, I'm going to buy that right away. I'm going to review it. I need it. Speaking of Rare Beauty, because I was just talking about their liquid highlighter, I almost reviewed the whole brand when it was released, and then I ended up going with something else that month as my self-sponsored review. But I felt like everybody else reviewed it, and I guess I didn't know whether or not it would have staying power, and it seems like it really has had staying power. I've seen particularly the liquid blushes in so many people's like best of favorites makeup videos for the past, I don't know, more than a year. I can't remember how long it's been since this brand was released. One of the things that kept me from being super excited and motivated to review it when the brand first came out was that the shade range, the colors in the cheek products and even the lip products felt very primary. Like they were the bold kind of center colors, like a bold red and a bold pink and a bold mauve, rather than being those softened, neutral, kind of murky colors that I prefer. However, the shade range from Rare Beauty for the blushes has just been expanded to include a whole bunch of very soft, murky colors, including one extremely pale color named Bliss, which is, it's pale. It's the kind of pale blush that you just don't see very often. It looks really, really light in color. So I'm kind of tempted to revisit the idea of a review of a couple of products from Rare Beauty. Are you guys still interested in that, or is it super old news by now? So that's me speaking as a reviewer, as someone who makes makeup videos. As a consumer, even with the expanded shade range, it's pretty easy for me to give these a miss because I prefer cream, actual cream blushes. I am excited that there's so much liquid and cream blush on the market. Like there's so much non-powder blush available. And as I was saying at the beginning of this video, that is a trend that it's great for me because it means that there's more availability of the kind of thing that I like. But I also had to kind of put on my brakes when these products started being released left and right so that I wouldn't overbuy them just out of excitement. And the thing is, since this kind of product is trending, that's allowed me to be much more discerning. So a couple of years ago, when most blushes on the market were powders, anytime a brand that I trusted had any kind of non-powder blush, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I can't wait to try that. That's really up my alley. Now that they're everywhere, I'm able to distinguish between what I really, really love and what I only kind of tend to prefer over powders. What I kind of tend to prefer over powders is anything that's cream or liquid in any form. What I really, really, really love is a cream blush and a compact that I can dip my brush into. And I know that Rare Beauty did release a thing like that, but it didn't have anywhere near the rave reviews of this liquid blush in like a little tube with a doe foot applicator. So it's in the vein of what I like. It's part of a trend that I really like, but it doesn't check every single box. And that's why it's been really easy for me to give it a miss up until this point, just in terms of like what I spend my own money on and buy for myself. Oh, let's talk about the Pantone color of the year, which I actually think is very beautiful, but this is sort of the epitome of a trend, right? Because it's basically the industry saying there's going to be lots of stuff in this color. And it's an opportunity actually to decide that you don't like the color of the year, and so you're not going to buy any of the things that are in that color. And that's kind of how it is for me. I think it's a beautiful color. I like it as a color objectively, and I actually think it's a great choice for the color of the year because it's distinctive, it has character, it's a rich color. It's not like the flat colonial blue or whatever it was a couple of years ago. I like it. When I saw it, I was like, oh, Pantone, you shouldn't have, you know? But this isn't really a color that suits me in clothing, in makeup. It's not part of my personal palette. And in a way, that's kind of a relief to me because that means that when all of the brands start coming out with packaging in this color and makeup in this color and a bunch of clothing's released in this color, I'm just going to be sitting over here in the clothing I already own, wearing the makeup that I already have, living my best life and appreciating how beautiful it looks on my screen. This is the very definition of being able to position yourself outside of a trend by knowing that a trend is what it is, instead of feeling like you're missing something because you don't own the thing or you haven't figured out how to wear the thing yourself. If this is your color, if this is your palette, and it's really exciting to you because you've seen that it's the color of the year and you're like, yes, there's gonna be all this beautiful clothing and makeup in Very Perry, which is like my dream color, if that's you, then awesome. But you can also say to yourself, okay, get ready. There's going to be a whole deluge of things in this color. What do I actually want? Because if what you want is a metallic eyeshadow in this color, it's likely that you will be able to buy one in the coming year, but you also might already have one if you really like this color. And so you might not need to buy one. Even if beautiful ones come out, you're fine, you know? If what you really want is a matte eyeshadow in this color and you don't own one and you're optimistic that someone will release one this year because it's the color of the year, then don't get tricked into also buying a sweater and a metallic eyeshadow and a lipstick and a bunch of stuff that's packaged in this color when what you really want is a matte eyeshadow. The idea is that whether this is or isn't your color, whether this trend is or isn't for you, you get to choose what you want to spend your money on and how much you want to participate. You can like the trend, but not have that mean that you buy a bunch of stuff. And you can also not understand the trend or not vibe with the trend and have that just be okay. I'm sort of out of steam, y'all. I'm scrolling through the rest of what's here. There are some things that I feel like I would definitely talk about if it was a normal new makeup releases, if I wasn't trying to do this thing where we talk about trends. Like, for example, the Natasha Denona Mini Rose palette, which is based on the Biba palette. I feel like it's not as though rose makeup is trending right now, or I don't know. I feel like neutral makeup and colorful makeup are both trending at the same time. I feel like we're sort of experiencing this simultaneous pulls. And I don't know, there are a couple of other products like Colourpop has released a Rose All Day collection. So maybe rose makeup is kind of trending, like that kind of mid-toned pink makeup for the eyes a little bit. We also see some of those tones in the Pat McGrath Bridgerton collection and in this Charlie's Angels X Flower Beauty palette that's been released. So I don't know. That's such a ubiquitous color in makeup that it's a little bit hard to say that it's micro trending right now, but maybe it kind of is. For me, those things are easy passes because I have those colors in other palettes and in singles, even if they're mixed in amongst other things. I can do all of the same looks that I would do with those palettes with the makeup that I already have. So the mini Natasha Denona palette, for example, the mini Rose palette, I definitely don't have a little palette like that. or even a big palette. Yeah, none of my eyeshadow palettes like have that color story. But each one of those shadows is one that I could find among my palettes. And I know that for some people, it's worth it to spend the $25 to have them all in one place. And if it's perfectly curated just for you and it's your exact tones and you don't have that much makeup and it would be incredibly convenient to take it with you everywhere you go, then yeah, like you're the person for whom it was designed. But for me, if I collect a new palette every time there's one that I like the color story of, if I'm like, oh yeah, I already have those colors, but I don't have them in this exact formula and I don't have them all together in a single palette. If I do that every time I see something that appeals to me or something that I enjoy using, I would have hundreds of eyeshadow palettes and they would all contain, many of them would contain pretty much the same colors. They would just be in slightly different arrangements. And that's just not what I want for myself. It's not the kind of collection I want to have because I would find that overwhelming and redundant. I feel like lip treatments are kind of micro trending right now. There are a number of lip balms. There's this Bite Beauty Agave Lip Butter Balm. So I guess that they had the agave lip mask before and now they have the agave lip butter balm. And I thought I saw another one when I was scrolling. Yeah, there are a number of them here. So Amore Pacific and Laneige. Okay, so Amore Pacific owns Laneige. So it's the Laneige lip sleeping mask marketed as the Amore Pacific lip sleeping mask in the same gummy bear flavor that they had before, but with some sort of marketing. Anyway, it's just like a new manifestation of the iconic Laneige lip sleeping mask. And yes, this is the other thing that I saw. Lawless Beauty has released an overnight lip plumping mask. So like a lip sleeping mask. So there are 3 or 4 just mixed in from the past couple of weeks on Trend Mood. And yeah, I mean, that's a good thing to have. It's like a really lovely, luscious thing to have, a lip sleeping mask or a really hydrating, nourishing thing for your lips. It makes sense that it would be micro trending right now because it's winter in a lot of places and it's cold and people's lips are getting chapped. Mine are. I have recently myself been thinking like, oh my gosh, I need to start using more chapstick or I need a good thick lip sleeping mask. My lips are really dry, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure a lot of people are feeling that way and the brands are taking advantage of that by releasing and promoting these products aggressively right now. So the fact that your lips are dry is making you feel like you need something like this. And the fact that a bunch of brands are releasing them is making you feel like everybody has them except you. Like everybody's buying one, fancy one, except you. And here's the way I feel about this. You only need one and you might already have one, like from last year or one that you just are a little bit tired of. But the one that you're a little bit tired of, is one of these really going to work way better than it? Are you tired of it because it doesn't work? Or are you just tired of it because you had it for a long time and it's passé? I feel like, I mean, I'm asking myself these questions, right? I'm like tempted to go out and buy 3 different kinds of lip sleeping masks because my lips are so dry, but I actually do have this one from Kaleidos that I've had for a while. It's not my favorite because it's like a little bit mentholy, you know, it's not my absolute favorite, but it works and it's sitting on my bedside table. So I don't need one of these because I put it on almost every night and it keeps my lips hydrated. When my lips are feeling really dry, it's because I forgot to use the one that I have, not because I need to buy a new one. And I think I'm going to leave it there. I don't see anything standing out being like, you've got to talk about me, even though I skipped through and I jumped over a bunch of things simply because they didn't remind me of a way in which I think about trends, or they didn't make me think about what might be trending right now, or they didn't seem examples of things that might be trending right now. And I don't know, this might have been a failed experiment. Did you like hearing me talk about what seems like it might be trending and kind of positioning these products that I discussed on the arc of certain trends and talking about how identifying them as that makes it easier to resist the desire to buy them? Did it make sense or was it a little strained? I feel right now like I'll probably just go back to the regular new makeup releases hot takes the next time I film one of these, but maybe every once in a while we can kind of revisit this idea of figuring out what's trending and using that knowledge to fortify our defenses against advertising. In any case, I appreciate you for watching and I hope that you enjoyed at least something about this video. And I really, really hope that you're taking extra good care of yourself so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.